Hi, I'm Sanaz Tahernia, and I'm here for the Distinguished Alumni Awards with the College of Communication. And with us today is Sylvia Stevens-Edouard. How are you today?
I'm great, thank you.
Great. Why did you choose to study at COM? Or, when you attended school here, it was known as the School of Public Relations / Communications.
Right, SPC.
SPC.
That's what it says on my ID card that I still have. I came to SPC because I really was looking to do broadcast journalism. I was an undergraduate in Philadelphia, and I majored in history, and I needed to find a real professional job. And so I extrapolated that history was writing about the past, and journalism was writing about the present, and broadcast journalism was the future. So I wanted to do broadcast journalism. And at that time, there was only one school in the entire United States that would take someone who had never demonstrated that they were interested in journalism at all. I had not written for a high school newspaper. I had not written for a school newspaper. I had not written for a community newsletter. I had done nothing that would indicate that I was interested in journalism.
Well, don't worry, I didn't either. How did your studies at COM prepare you for your career right now?
Oh, I was just saying that when I think of college, coming from Tallahassee, Florida, going to college was like Dorothy, and she put on the glasses and everything became in color, and the opportunity and ability to do things was just unbelievable.
Right.
But coming to COM was my yellow brick road. It was my yellow brick road that led me to personal and professional success.
And what was it like being at COM at that time in the 70s?
Ooh, well, it was a small class. I was in graduate school for about 14 people, and believe it or not, I cannot remember anybody's name.
The entire graduate class was 14 people?
About 14 people,
Wow.
in BJ. Now, not
Right.
the whole school, but in
Right.
BJ. I don't remember anybody's name. And probably it's because when I came in, knowing that I had so much study to do and so much work to do, and it was competitive. I mean, you really, really had to, and I wanted to excel, so I spent my time studying. And the other piece of it was that I was the only minority person in my class, so there was not a lot of camaraderie. There was one woman, one lady that I thought was my friend until I kind of, we did not see eye to eye on a particular professor. She thought he was wonderful, and I thought he was not. And that did not, that kind of ended that friendship. Boston was in the middle of the busing situation, and the racial tensions here were pretty high.
Right.
It was not a friendly place to be. Being a Southerner, you're used to warm and friendly people. Mm-hmm. New Englanders are not, okay? So I guess the conjunction of all of the different types of things that were different, weather, people, pressure to do well, to excel, all of those things made it much more, for me, more focused about, let me do what I need to do here, do well, and get the heck out of here.
Well, given the nature of what it was like back then for you as a minority, how were you able to kind of just push everything out and focus on your education and not let things like negative interactions with other people kind of get you down?
Well, I think I have to credit my family. I was my father's chocolate drop, and I could do anything that I wanted to do as long as I put my mind to it. I did grow up in the segregated South. We did integrate the schools, so I had already been through, and I guess that was it, I'd already been through the trauma of what you had seen up close and personal. Right. With busing. I knew how to live in an environment where it was not friendly, but you had to do what you had to do, and right. that was how I was trained.
Do you have any advice for minority students that currently attend COM?
Yes, of course I do. I'd say, number one, stay focused, do your work, be the best that you can be in what you're doing. Screen out the noise, okay? It's very important that you never let anyone make you think you can't do the best. You should never let anyone think that you aren't the best. It's okay if they have that thought process. You never take that into your head. That would be one. The other thing is that you will always be in a situation where you're not the majority in this business. I'm a little concerned because I don't see as many people coming behind me as there should be in positions that they should be. And I would also say that, and it's sort of a catch-22 because all business is about who you know, okay? Right. And I remember when I was in, was it South Carolina? North Carolina. I had this conversation with the engineer guy, and he was saying, Sylvia, I don't like this affirmative action stuff. And I said, okay, let's talk about this. I said, he was an engineer. I said, I want you to take out your employee list. Tell me how you found everybody that you hired. Well, such and such recommended him, and such recommended him, and my brother Bob, and my friend, and whatever. And I said, now, as a minority person, we have no people in this business. We have no Uncle Saul. We have no Uncle Joel. We have no one. Our uncle is Uncle Sam, and that's how we get in the door. Now, when you get in the door, okay, that's a whole different thing. When you get in the door, you have to perform at the maximum, at the peak. And when I was an executive producer, this one guy, he was a black guy, he was an engineer. He did not roll the tape, and we had this great piece going back and forth. I was livid, okay? You've got to go. Nope, nope. Nice guy, talked to you, had lunch with you, dinner with you, you got to go, okay? Yeah. Because this demanded that you perform professionally. So if you perform professionally, and this is something that I had a black mentor and a white mentor, both were television general managers, and George Miles went on, the black guy, he said, Sylvia, it's all about the work. What's in the job description? Can you do the work? We don't have to discuss race. It says A, B, C, D. Can you do it? If you can't do it, you gotta go, okay? And then John Spinola said, Sylvia, what do you get when you keep your nose to the grindstone? And he says, a ground down nose, okay? So what you also have to do is know the politics, know who it is you need to know to get to know where you want to go. Right. Okay? When I was in the South and I'd have to go to these meetings and I'd be the only black person there. And I figured it out. You go and you talk to the person who has the man, because there's always a man. You go talk to the guy who has the best suit on and the best shoes. Okay? You do not go talk to the guy with the belt buckle and the white shoes. He's not going to talk to you. Okay, that's not going to happen. So you know how and when to say what. I was telling you before about working in Charleston, and I had to work for Mr. Rivers, who owned the television station there. By the way, which Bill O'Reilly came from. He came after I left there, but he had said he would never let any in people work for him. Wow. And but because the laws changed, he had to, so that's why I was there. And he'd come in every morning, and you'd see him, and you'd have to say, "Good morning, Mr. Rivers." And every morning, I wanted to say, "How does it feel having this work for you?" Yeah, I did not do that. Okay, but because that was not appropriate either. Right. But I worked my butt off, and I said 2 years and out. The other thing that COM does for you is you're exposed to the best. You're exposed to the theory, you're exposed to the practice, you're exposed to people and ideas that you won't get on the job training. Absolutely. And so when you arrive at a small station in particular, you have a skill set that is far superior to anybody that you're working with. You cannot share that with them either. You cannot act like that either. But you know that this is not where you're going to be, but this is where you got to start. So my advice is get a job anywhere. Get in. Once you get in, you can move. Right. Do well. Connect. Be open to people. Be open to new ideas and new thoughts.
Can you tell us a little bit about your transition from journalism to being an executive director? Well,
it was not quite that simple. There was a thing in between there. When I was here living right over on Buswell Street, and the Exxon Valdez, I don't know if you remember, but that in Alaska happened. And I was working really hard, and I had carried a 30-pound pack up Faneuil Hall to do a story. And you know, you're running around trying to make people talk to you as a student to do these interviews and things. And it was like, this is a lot of work. This is a lot of work. So I said, I built out my life trajectory. It was my yellow brick road. I was going to do well in BJ. I was going to win awards. I was going to go to 60 Minutes as a producer. Didn't do that one. And then I was going to switch careers. And I was going to go corporate because I looking at the Exxon Valdez. Oh, all the journalists were cold. They were in the snow. They're trying to get these pictures. They're trying to get people to talk to them. It's like all that work. And the FLAC, which is what we call the PR people, was in a warm environment, stonewalling. Okay. And so I said, aha, so I'm going to do this until I get tired of it, and then I'm going to be a FLAC, and I'll only have to answer one question about some crisis once a year. That's a much better.
So you were going after the luxurious, warmer life.
In the long run. So, and actually I did that. But I didn't, I again, did not have the personality to be, I'm not properly deferential to power, the powers that be. So being a PR person was not in the cards for me. But community relations was. Okay. And so I moved to be a community relations director for a bank, and then on to Blue Cross and Blue Shield. And that was a big transition. The most, I guess, intimidating one was when you're a journalist, you know, you're working the phones and you're getting everything going. And so, because by 4 o'clock you got to have the story, or by whatever time frame it is, it's all got to be put together, and you've got to get the pros, the cons, in betweens, and everything, and the
deadlines.
It's done. In corporate, it was snail's pace. I'll never forget. They wanted me to do a plan for an event. You know, who was I going to call? I need to make a list, and I need to do this. And so when the PR guy, I call him Binder Man, okay, because they build binders, okay? And I said, but by the time I do that, it's over. When I get done at the end of the day, the thing's planned, the people are coming, everything's done. I don't need a written plan. But corporate, you need a written plan. So that was really interesting, and it's snail pace. The language is totally different. When you're working under pressure, time pressures of being a journalist, you don't have time to say, could you please move that camera? It's like, no, move over there, take this shot, do this, do that. That's not right. Because you got to be explicit so that you can get it done within the time frame.
Exactly.
When you work in corporate, you have all of this fluffy language that sends mixed messages. Oh, that was really nice, but can you change this, this, and this? And I would keep saying, but it wasn't really nice if I want you to change 5 things, so why am I going to tell you?
It's a completely different world.
Totally different world.
Right.
So I've been learning that for quite a while. I've been working on my diplomacy skills for the last 15 years to be able to do that. But the similarities when you're talking about community relations, when you're looking at taking corporate resources and matching them with needs in communities and vulnerable people, that played to my desire to really want to change and want to be. So that's my true north. I wanted to make the world a better place. Okay. I grew up in a family that were of educators, so the thought process is, if you understood, my father would say, there's paying for college or paying for an education is never too expensive, because you pay way more when you're ignorant.
In the long run.
In the long run.
Right.
And so therefore, my goal was in BJ, if you understood how this works, then you can have an impact on it, you can change it, you can make it better. Okay. And going into corporate and community relations, it was taking corporate resources to try to make it better. So that was the first transition. And I think working at Blue Cross, I was able to create the Jump Up and Go program, which was ahead of its time. I started on childhood obesity in '98. Wow. Okay, because you could see the trends, and that's what BJ teaches you, how to read research, how to understand what's happening, and then you can conjecture and see what's going to be there. So I started on that program in '98, and I think my proudest piece of that was the impact that it had here in Boston and around the state. But the 521 message that is now the prescription for children's health, that came from me, working with the Harvard School of Public. They added a 0. I fought against the 0, because in 0 is, 5 fruits and vegetables, limit television time to 2 hours or less, and get 1 hour physical activity. So the 521 came from me. The public health people wanted to add the 0. with my communication skill, you never tell people don't do it at all.
Right.
You know,
It makes them want to do it more.
But I lost that battle. But now that prescription for health is used by the Academy of Pediatrics. It's in the electronic medical records here in Massachusetts. So that is really something that I feel quite proud about from a communications piece,
right,
as a gift to really help families and children learn how to do the things necessary without it being and seeming intimidating, or you have to change your whole lifestyle. So that was that.
Okay.
And then after I completed that, because again, if you're in television, for me, you research it, you find out the answers, and now I'm done. And so I switched careers again, and now I'm an executive director for the Schweitzer Fellowship, which is an organization that trains public health and medical students, health students, on how to more effectively serve underserved populations.
That's quite the journey.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes.
What's the most valuable lesson you learned while you were studying at COM?
You know, when people say that journalists are liberal, it's not that you're liberal. It's that you've been exposed to things that the majority of the people in the world never will ever be exposed to. You get exposed to both sides of an issue. You get exposed to seeing that the world is gray, it's not black and white.
Right.
When you are not in this field where you see, you know, I had when the AIDS epidemic was going on, was I going to interview this man who had AIDS when we really didn't know how it was spread?
Right.
I did. Okay. Would, you know, when you go and you see abject poverty, how do you relate to that? You know, how do you, when you see wealth that is unbelievable, how do you relate to that? So you're exposed to sort of the entire world in a microcosm sort of thing,
right,
and so nothing is ever black and white for you ever again.
Right.
Everything is always gray. And I would say, well, on one hand and on the other hand, you know, and you try to, I mean, that was a discipline. You try to come to a place where you understand the higher truth or the better truth or the truth, right, of all of us combined. That was the most important thing. That
you see things in a different light. You see things in a different,
totally in a different light,
perspective.
For totally different perspective. You just, you know, when you're in your own provincial world, mm-hmm, and you socialize with only the people that you know, you only have that perspective.
Right.
When you're forced to move out of that, and to move out of it not coming with an opinion, but coming with a thirst for knowledge,
right,
it's a different process altogether.
Very well put. My final question for you is, what does being a COM alum mean to you?
When Dean Fielder told me about this, I thought I was having lunch with him about something else, you know, and he like, what you know, and this is what COM tells you to. Don't let him see you're discombobulated, you know, smile, nod, and keep asking questions. And so that's what I was doing. It's, you know, it's as you can see, it's really been a journey for me the last couple of weeks, you know. I never thought I would ever be honored in this manner. I did think I would win awards, which I did. You know, I didn't go to 60 Minutes, which I didn't. I did go corporate, which late. I did. But it really has helped me to focus in on what was this experience and how did it shape my life. And it truly, I would say, between going to college, which then opened the door to coming to BU, it was life-altering. My perspective changed. My ability to deal with people. I was a bit more shy than I am now, which people won't believe now, except when I'm tired. And when I'm tired, I go into being shy, and I had to go to some event, and my friend said, next time you're not on, stay home. but it shaped my whole life. I came back to Boston, I met my husband, I had my son, who's now a BU grad too.
Oh, wow.
So professionally and personally, when I stopped to think about it, because I keep up with my college girlfriends, we're actually going down to DC next week. we have a reunion every couple of years. I don't have that so the personal part of BU and COM wasn't there, but the professional part or the growth and successful part of me actually came from here.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much for meeting with us today. Congratulations on getting the award. You can add that to your list of awards. Thank you so much. It was really great to meet you.
Thank you, and I'm truly honored.